Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the StreetLogic Sports YouTube channel. This is our Open Court series, and I'm joined across from me by
Isaiah.
And as you can see, we're rocking some jerseys here today. And there's a reason why. NBA basketball is back for the 2024-2025 season.
Yes, sir.
Our respective favorite teams did play on opening night. The Celtics played the New York Knicks in the TD Garden in Boston, and the Lakers played the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles.
Yes, sir. We both got W's.
We both did get some W's. The Celtics one, in particular, was a pretty dominant first game, I think we should say.
Yeah, well, let's break it down really quick. So
Let's do it.
We got the Celtics winning 132, Knicks 109. Top performers here, we got Jason Tatum, 37 points, 10 assists. He was 8 of 11 from 3. Derek White, 24 points, 6 of 10 from 3. And then Jaylen Brown, he was 7 of 18 with 23 points. He was also 5 of 9 from 3. He did add 7 rebounds. And then on the other side of the game, we actually have Miles McBride as the top performer for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Someone who we were talking about a little bit in the previous show.
Yeah.
That you can find on Spotify, StreetLogic Sports.
Yeah.
Miles McBride, he had 22 points. He was 8 of 10 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3. Then we have Jalen Brunson. He had 22 points in 25 minutes. And then Mikal Bridges, who I think will spark a little bit of a conversation. He had 16 points, 7 of 13 from the field, but 2 of 7 from 3. He also had a minus 33 plus minus, which was a game worst.
Wow.
But he did play a game high 35 minutes.
Well, there you go.
But yeah.
Celtics look great.
Well, I think we should start with the fact that you guys took 61 total threes.
We almost broke the record for most threes in a game by an NBA team.
I know. Well, you tied it for one half in the first half, and then you guys tied it for the entire game.
Yeah.
Like you guys tied the Milwaukee Bucks record.
Yeah, we tied it with like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Well, you guys took 13 consecutive threes and missed
them all.
13 consecutive
It was
threes.
terrible. Like that last 6 minutes of the game might have been the worst basketball I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, I think Joe Mazzulla just likes to do that shit.
Yeah.
Like if he knows the game is out of reach.
Yeah.
Like he almost did it. I think he did it last year when you guys were playing the Bulls in the in-season tournament, and you guys were fouling Andre Drummond to
shoot free throws,
hack a Drummond or whatever to shoot free throws so that you guys could win by a certain point difference.
Well, yeah, that because that mattered at the time.
It did matter at the time, but it almost just feels like a Joe Mazzulla classic. Like you could almost tell that even though he's kind of nonchalant as a coach and he likes to, all we're about is winning. At the same time, he does kind of care a little bit about records and history,
yeah. Well,
which I enjoy.
There was a period of time where we had missed 6 or 7 straight threes, and we just every possession down the floor we had just shot a 3. He just calls a timeout.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, Joe Mazzulla is about to be why?
Yeah. What are we doing?
What are we doing here? There was
But then they continued.
And then we kept going. It was like I said, it was the worst basketball I think I've ever seen. It was
that 8-minute stretch was
that 8-minute stretch looked like a Perry Park run on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
It just looked terrible.
LA Fitness.
Yeah.
At 3 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah. It was arguably the worst basketball I think I've ever seen. But the first 40 minutes of the game was incredible as a Celtics fan to watch. Jason Tatum was a man on a mission. It looked like he was.
Well, yeah. Give me your 3 takeaways, your 3 positives.
Yeah, my 3 positives is this team is still performing with an identity, and it's consistent to what it was last season.
What would you say that identity is?
Shoot the hell out of the ball.
True.
Shoot a lot of threes. And,
I don't even know why I asked that.
And defend well, right? We defended really well. We defend very well as a team, right? If one guy contests 3 and he gets pump faked and blown by, then there's always another guy coming in to contest a shot right after him, and then the recovery defense has also been a really good sight to see. It was good that we got a win. We had the win yesterday without Kristaps, of course, and Al Horford at age 38, starting after 5, and he's on a minutes restriction and on a games restriction. Right, he doesn't play second games of back-to-backs because of his age. And
so the first takeaway is sticking to the identity.
Second thing is Jason Tatum on a mission. Right, was really great yesterday. Plus 26 plus minus.
Thank you, Steve Kerr, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate everything that you did for that man. 37 points is nothing to scoff at. 14 of 18 from the field.
That's what I'm most
An
impressed
uber
with.
efficient game from Jason Tatum, and 8 of 11 from 3.
I honestly don't remember the last time he had a game where he was that efficient.
Yeah, me neither.
That's incredible.
And I've been watching him since he was a rookie.
If he plays like this, dude.
Yeah, if
Back-to-back.
he can average close to 29, 30 points a game, and he put up 10 assists yesterday as well.
But if he can be an above 52% shooter,
yeah,
and like an above 38% from 3 guy,
dangerous.
dude, this is the best player in the NBA.
Yep.
He does that.
And then I guess my third takeaway is, I mean, this Knicks team was supposed to be the team that were supposed to be the biggest challengers to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference, and we blew them out. So not saying that that's like going to be the standard for the Celtics, like for the entire season. I just think it was really ironic how the entire offseason, after they traded for Mikal and they re-signed OG Anunoby and they brought in Karl-Anthony Towns, the narrative was the Knicks are on par with the Celtics. So they can compete the best with the Celtics offensively in the Eastern Conference. And they showed that they, even at their strongest, they're not close to the Celtics.
Well, they brought in 3-point shooters who didn't shoot the ball efficiently whatsoever. No. I mean, you bring in a guy like Mikal Bridges, who was at one time like regarded as one of the better
3-and-D
players in the league. You bring in a Karl-Anthony Towns, who's regarded as the greatest 3-point shooting big in NBA history.
Yeah.
You have that's another gripe too that I have with Jalen Brunson is I don't think he takes enough threes.
No,
like he's talented enough to shoot at a high clip, but even dating back to last season, like he had his games where he would shoot a lot of threes and stuff.
Yeah.
He's almost become like this mid-range assassin to the basket type of guy, and I don't understand why typically he does that.
I don't know. I don't understand it either.
Like if you're having Josh Hart take some of the most attempts from 3 on your team, that's not necessarily going to pan out very well for you.
No.
So it was weird because on the other side of things, you had the Celtics who kept their identity and, executed it perfectly.
Yep.
Whereas the Knicks have an identity that they want to get, but they're not executing.
No, they're not.
It doesn't make sense because, I mean, the Knicks did shoot 55% from the 3. They did shoot, I think, 38% from 3 as well. So where do you go from here? What's the goal here? Because you're not going to beat teams defensively, and we saw that last night. Like, even though the Celtics are a generational offensive team, like, they're still not on par defensively, and I don't think they will be throughout the season.
Yeah.
So, if you're Tom Thibodeau, right? What are things that you think you should do to take a step back and take this team to the next level offensively? Is it just players needing to adjust? What do you think it is?
I think for the Knicks, I think they didn't do enough of the Jalen Brunson pick and pop, pick and roll. They didn't do enough of that. They kind of gave a lot of isolation post touches to Karl-Anthony Towns. They give a lot of isolations to Jalen Brunson. But especially with the Celtics team, you can't go one-on-one really with any of these players. Even with Al Horford, you can't go one-on-one. He's a strong guy. He's super solid. He's got length. And
there's very few players that can go one-on-one with Al Horford, and Karl-Anthony Towns
is not one of them. And one of the things that I took away too is that the Celtics went at Karl-Anthony Towns a lot when on the defensive side.
He was all right.
He played all right, but they recognize that like, okay, the weak links are Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns defensively. Those are the two we can't go at Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, or Mikal Bridges. We just can't go at those guys one-on-one. They have length, they have strength and size and versatility. We're not gonna go at them, but Joe Mazzulla executed that game plan perfectly in terms of offensively how we were going to execute our plays and how to run our offense. And then defensively, we switched everything. We played pretty good defense. And look, the Knicks didn't play terrible. On a lot of things considered, they played a really good game.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, when a team is taking 61 threes and they shoot 47% from 3 doing that,
yeah,
nobody in the NBA is going to beat that team on that night.
Yeah, and look, I think the 2023-24 Celtics, right, the ones that just won the championship last year, which is very similar to the team this year.
But 13 players came back.
The only person we lost was O'Shea Brissett.
That's the first team, if I'm not mistaken, since the 2004 Pistons after winning a title that brought everyone. The entire team.
And maybe some Spurs teams in years past, but
no, it's legit. Like
Yeah.
the only team that's ever brought back
probably,
13 of their returning players.
That's crazy.
The Pistons and
The Celtics.
2023.
But I think we're gonna look back at the Celtics team that won the championship in 10, 15 years from now as probably one of the most important teams in NBA history, just because of, yes, we had the 2015 through 2019 Warriors that shot a lot of threes, they moved the ball around a lot, but they didn't even do that to the degree that the Celtics are doing it right now.
Didn't even do it as efficient as
No.
the Celtics are doing it.
So in terms of blueprinting teams, this Celtics team is going to be one of the most important teams that I think we'll ever see.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of the James Harden Rockets.
Yeah.
With the defense to back it up. Because with the Rockets, it was always like, okay, we can keep on par with the Warriors offensively, and we saw it year in and year out. They were always the one team that could compete with the Rockets genuinely, outside of the Cavaliers, obviously. So, but it was never defense. Like they could never, at the end of the game, they could never defensively keep up.
Yeah, their philosophy was, we can't stop you from scoring.
So we're gonna go,
but we're just gonna outscore. We're gonna try to just outscore you. Yeah. With the Celtics is like, we're gonna outscore you, but then we're also gonna prevent you from scoring.
Yeah.
So. And we're going to look at the Celtics team as one of the most important ones that in NBA history. And in terms of, to kind of answer your question that you alluded to earlier, in terms of how does Tom Thibodeau kind of look at Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson and how to incorporate them two together. Like Jalen Brunson shooting only 2 threes is quite strange, I think. But I think it's just a matchup thing when you have Drew Holiday and Derek White and Jaylen Brown on the perimeter. You're not going to, especially with a guy like Jalen Brunson, who's maybe, 6'1", 6'2", you're not going to get a lot of threes off on those guys. But with Karl Anthony Towns, him being regarding even himself as the best three-point shooting big of all time, he needs to be more aggressive. And I think his lack of aggressiveness in his days in Minnesota were kind of masked by a lot of other guys around him that were a bit more aggressive, but now it's showing that like he's lacking a little bit of aggression in terms of, dude, you're bigger than some of these guys. You're getting Drew Holiday switched onto you, and you can barely post him up.
Yeah,
and you're kicking the ball out. You gotta be able to attack mismatches and be more of a all around big, not just the stretch big that you were in Minnesota.
What do you think of the idea of moving Josh Hart to the bench and putting Miles McBride in
to start?
To start.
I don't know, because then
Miles McBride
looked really great last night. I just think then your sole backup option in that position is Cam Payne.
He didn't play bad either.
He was defensively very exposed.
Damn near the entire team was.
Well, but Cam Payne in particular.
That's another thing though that I want to know is it's very hard to take this game from the Knicks and be like, okay, you guys are terrible defensively.
No.
Because almost every team looks terrible defensively against the Boston Celtics. Yeah. I mean, even the Dallas Mavericks, as bad as we know that, Kyrie and Luka are on defense, like the Celtics can make they can make the best defensive team of all time look
bad.
Like a bad defensive team.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to play perimeter defense because it doesn't, there's skill behind playing perimeter defense, but when you're facing a Boston Celtics who's just going to jack that shit up no matter. I mean, I saw Jason Tatum take threes in people's faces all night long, and they were just dropping.
Yep.
So, I mean, on top of that, just being heartbreaking as a defender, like you're playing hard defense for 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
That just happens. Like,
yeah. I think
how much can we really take from the Knicks and be like, okay, this is a poor defense.
If you're a Knicks fan, these are 3 takeaways as a Knicks fan that you can take from this game is, your team isn't bad. Don't get it twisted. Your team is not bad at all.
No, they're a 50-win team.
They're a 50+ win team. Another takeaway. There should be concerns about Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on with that?
There is.
Who did he work with in the offseason? Genuinely, I need to know.
LeVar Ball.
Seriously,
like, I don't know.
I know not a lot of hoop heads don't like to pay attention to plus minus, but a game worse minus 33. That's not good. And you're playing a game high at 35 minutes, which means that Thibodeau is trying to get you going. Yep. Like he's giving you the minutes to get it going, and 2 of 7 is all you have to offer from 3. That's what you're there for, brother. Like that is quite literally why you're there, and you can't do the one thing that you're there for.
Yeah.
And that's a cause for concern.
That is.
how much money is he making right now?
Quite a bit.
I mean, he's got what, like $150 million
Something
contract
like
right
that.
now. Yeah, that's got to turn around soon.
Yeah,
I mean, they can't do anything about it. They can't like trade him away because they gave up so much draft capital for him.
It looks like right now the Nets won the trade.
Yeah,
it looks like it right now. But look, maybe it just looks awkward at the moment, and that's what we're kind of like. And he was 2 of 19 in the preseason. Now he's 2 of 7 from 3 in the first game back.
He started 0 for 4 though.
He did start 0 for 4, and it was not looking. It didn't start out great for him.
2 threes came when it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. And then Miles McBride. That's the third takeaway. Miles McBride.
That's the biggest takeaway from this
is
for the Knicks.
He's a good player. He's a great player. He's a great backup point guard. Even for some teams, a starting caliber point guard. And the fact that you have him coming off of your bench looks great. I don't think
he gave me like early Derek White vibes, like when the Celtics first brought over Derek White, like the efficiency shooting, the not scared to take shots.
Yeah.
The size, the length, like he's very lengthy and he's very big for like the point guard position, at least in my opinion.
He's sturdy.
Yeah. I don't know. He just has like this confident approach that I think the Knicks are lacking when it comes to their second team.
Yeah.
That like I would very much be looking forward to as a Knicks fan.
For sure.
I think that's what they were lacking last year with Jalen Brunson pretty much playing almost 40 minutes a night every single game.
That's huge. Second person.
That's huge.
It's a huge, and he's going to come really big. He could be a 6th man of the year candidate.
He really could be, unless they elevate him.
Which
they might have to.
We're going to see what happens to Mikal Bridges, I think. And then the second game of the night.
Yeah.
Your LA Lakers.
Yeah.
You guys didn't have a ring ceremony last night.
Nope. But I mean,
you guys had the Griffies in attendance. Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr.
Look, no matter who you are, no matter what your views are, I feel like last night was just a beautiful moment.
It was.
For Laker basketball, for LeBron James.
For NBA basketball.
Yeah.
For all of sports, it was a beautiful moment.
And, you know, trust me, I'm not one either that's very supportive of the idea of keeping Bronny on the active roster at the moment. I'm more of a send him to the G League so he can get minutes to play, because he's not going to develop much if he plays 3 minutes a game and gets a couple rebounds.
I think he's on a two-way. Is he not?
He is on a two-way, but there's been no signs that JJ Redick has any intentions of
sending him down there?
Of sending him down to the G League.
Wow.
But just a quick review. The final score was Lakers 110, Timberwolves 103. Anthony Davis was the top performer for the Lakers. He had 36 points. He was 11 of 23 from the field. He was 13 of 15 from the free throw line. And he also added 16 rebounds and 3 blocks in 38 minutes. We had Rui Hachimura with 18 points. He was 7 of 14, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block, 35 minutes. And then LeBron James with a semi-solid game, 16 points, 7 of 16 from the field, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 35 minutes. And then on the other side, we had the Timberwolves, 27 points. He was 10 of 25 from the field, Anthony Edwards was. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 41 minutes.
Wow.
And then we have Julius Randle with 16 points, 5 of 10 from the field, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker was the third best performer on the team. He had 14 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. He had a plus 13 plus minus, which was the team best in 28 minutes. So I think from looking at the box score alone, I want to say that the biggest impact player outside of Anthony Davis was Rui Hachimura. I don't know if you watched the first quarter to second quarter of the game. I think the biggest impact player was Rui Hachimura.
Yep.
And I think what he did was he solidified the early identity that this team needs to have, and that's aggressiveness, running the floor,
crashing the glass. And obviously we know from last year that the identity of the team was we're going to win the game in the paint. Yep.
With the Lakers, like every game that they won, they would usually outscore
and out rebound.
Well, we didn't necessarily out rebound this game.
Yeah.
But outscoring them in the paint, because we have the players to do it. We always did, and we always will, with Anthony Davis on our team and Rui Hachimura and LeBron James.
Yeah.
Like LeBron James specifically, he's a generational point or paint player.
Yeah.
So what he did, I think he made it easy for JJ Redick too, because he solidified the identity of the team early, which is what we needed. We also played with an we looked organized, we looked detailed, we played high IQ, we didn't make stupid mistakes.
It looked like last year you guys were just like out there just like hooping.
Yeah.
Let's just go hoop.
Yeah, and Braun looked like he was having fun, especially when he stepped out there with his son.
It's crazy it's funny that they checked in together.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
that was
they
planned.
had to do that.
Yeah, that was planned.
They had to do that.
Yeah,
JJ needed to do that. But I was watching, I think it was NBA Today earlier this morning, and it's not Woj. Who's the other guy?
Brian
Windhorst. He was talking about how I think the idea of bringing Bronny in early and, having that whole moment of subbing him in was, keeping a LeBron James engaged with the team. Because, I mean, he is entering his 22nd year.
Which is crazy.
He doesn't have much more to play for. I mean, he's won the titles. He's won the MVPs. He has the scoring title.
Yep.
Like, he's done everything there is to do. So, like, what do you need to do to keep a LeBron James engaged? Especially early on. And what better to do that than have your son there to motivate you to keep playing? So, I mean.
And Bronny looked okay. Like, a lot of times when you put in a rookie in the game, there's a moment of jitters and excitement and nervousness and stuff, and you kind of make certain plays, and you there's a little bit of an intimidation factor, right? And especially, I can even imagine for a player like Bronny, who you're the son of LeBron James, you're playing on the court with him, there's all this media and fan attention on you, not even like to just do well, but to be worthy of.
You also have the biggest contract of a 55th pick of all
ever.
time.
Like, and he didn't look lost. He just looked nervous, right? There's a lot of rookies that when they go out there, they just kind of look lost. Like they're kind of the speed of the game passes them by, and they just kind of starting to play catch up. But with Bronny, it looked like it just looked a bit more natural for him. And he didn't look lost. It didn't look like the game like got out of control for him.
There's just not much for him to do in 3 minutes.
No.
So.
He did take a 3.
He did. And, dude, if he made that 3.
It would have been nuts.
The stadium would have fucking exploded.
They
were
been
so
crazy.
ready for that to go in.
I think last night, to me, at least, it was the time for certain players to shut up some doubters. Jason Tatum was one of them. Anthony Davis was the other one, right? There's the narrative of when he's healthy, he is the best player in the world.
Did they both.
Did they both shut some people up, right? And I think, like, a guy like Rui Hachimura, right? A guy that he was in the 2019 draft class. He's entering year 7 now, or year 5 or 6 now. Like, did I say 2017, 2019? He was he's been a player that's, we've been waiting for him to blossom. We're waiting for something out of Rui Hachimura. We saw it in some flashes in Washington. We saw it in some flashes in LA. But last night, he looked like the legitimate third guy alongside LeBron and AD. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of D'Angelo Russell and how he looks.
Well, JJ said before the season, like, he knows what he needs to do to implement Rui into the game plan.
Yep.
And he did that.
And
it almost feels like, I mean, we say this a lot with Rui, especially Lakers fans. Ever since we brought him in, he has a game where he's like, he looks the way that he does, and you're like, okay, Rui found his confidence. Rui found his stride. Like, it's gonna go up from here. And then, it always seemingly like that he faded out of the game plan. He faded out with minutes.
Yeah.
So, but with this time, it looked a little different.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like he really has found his stride,
confidence.
his confidence, his step in the lineup.
Yeah. And then Austin Reeves, I mean, per usual, looked okay.
Austin Reeves' game. But one
typical.
thing I need to say is Dalton Knecht needs more minutes.
How did you think about him? What did you think about him in the minutes that he was on the floor?
He looked great. He stretches the floor for us. One,
of course.
He's a fantastic shooter. Even his misses.
Danilo
said it in the group chat last night. Like, even his misses look good. Like, that's just he's a technically sound.
Real
player.
Basketball fans know what that means.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's just technically sound.
Yeah,
he's got the fundamentals down, and he's a cold ass white boy. I mean, we have cold ass white boys everywhere you look on this team. So. And Jackson Hayes also stepped up nicely.
He looked good yesterday.
In the backup 5. So, yeah, there's not much. I mean, the only thing I can really look at, but this was all of last season too with the Lakers, is the pitiful 3-point shooting. I mean, we shot 16% from three.
But I will say though, the year that you guys won the championship in 2020, you guys were the best team in the paint. You guys were the best rebounding team in the league, or one of the best ones.
Yeah.
That's what led you guys. You had Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, LeBron, JaVale, Anthony Davis.
Darvin Ham tried to do that. He tried to like find that 2020 identity with this team. But the thing with that roster is we stacked it with like 3-point shooters or people who were supposed to be 3-point shooters, like Torian Prince's, Malik Beasley's.
Yeah.
Who else?
I don't know.
Cam Reddish's.
Well, Cam Reddish is still on the roster.
He's still on the roster, but he's not playing. I'm just saying, like, we recognized that we couldn't shoot the three, so we tried to get a roster that could shoot threes, but we also stuck to the plan of like trying to play in the paint.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're playing guys more like, obviously we didn't have him because of health, but Gabe Vincent's, who, you know, pushed the identity of like, we need to find a way to get inside the paint. So we have playmakers who make that happen.
Yeah.
You know, and with Dalton Connect, he's like that. He's a slasher, but he's also a 3-point player.
Yep.
He looked pretty good defensively when he was in. You know, he wasn't getting beat as much as I thought a rookie would.
Yeah.
It's just, we played with a sense of comfortability. We played with a sense of like, we know who we are as a team.
Yeah.
It looked like our roster pieces were playing like the roster pieces they're supposed to be. And we did it against a great Timberwolves team.
Yeah. So speaking of, Julius Randle had a decent debut.
They look small though.
They look small.
Rudy Gobert's not on the floor.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good. Nas Reed didn't look extremely. It doesn't look like
crazy for me to say though, because Rudy Gobert is not good.
No, he's not.
And he was getting dicked by Anthony Davis.
He was
all night. That block was fucking calm.
It was immense, dude. And then Anthony Edwards. I mean, this is kind of a typical Anthony Edwards game, right? 27 points, 20 plus shots, semi-efficient, just maybe slightly inefficient.
Can someone tell Anthony Edwards he doesn't need to ISO every time he comes down the court? Can someone tell him that? Like every single fucking time he's running down the court, like the 3 assists that he has, those were consecutive assists in the fourth quarter when we decided to stop double teaming him.
Really?
That's where the assist came from. He literally had 0 assists going into the fourth quarter. 10 of 25, 5 of 13 from 3. Like, I know this is a typical game from Anthony Edwards, but like he was trying to do everything by himself last night when he truly did not
have to. Mike Conley still looks really good at year 18, I think he's on now.
Yeah, but like when you have to rely on Mike Conley to be your primary playmaker, things are not going to look good for you.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker looked great, as you mentioned prior.
Great.
He looked good.
I mean, Jaden McDaniels struggled a little bit.
He took a lot of threes off the dribble last night, which is uncharacteristic of a Jaden McDaniels.
Not something you see typically.
But
the thing that the gripe I have with Anthony Edwards is he has all the talent in the world.
Of course.
Right? Why are you not working on your playmaking abilities? Why are you still playing iso ball?
Yeah.
Why are you not running the pick and roll? And when you do run the pick and roll, why are you just stepping to the side and taking a mid-ranger? Why are you not attacking the basket like you should? He did have his moments there.
Yeah.
But it didn't look pretty.
Yeah.
It didn't look like the Anthony Edwards that we said is going to be the face of basketball.
Yeah.
You know? These are just things that as a young player you need to start taking strides in. Like with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum had 10 assists last night.
Yep.
Like he has taken his strides to become the playmaker that he needs to be on top of, you know, the scoring that he offers.
And he's made strides every year of his career. Jason Tatum has as a playmaker because as he's drawn more attention as a scorer. Granted, right? We joke about his inefficiencies on offense, but you still have to respect him as a scorer. He's still a threat to drop 30, 40 points a game if you really allow him to. But it's his strides as a playmaker that stood out. But I mean, with Anthony Edwards, it feels like he's self-appointed himself this Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant type of identity that he shows flashes of, but he's not there yet quite to where he can do it on a nightly basis and win basketball games on a consistent basis.
Well, yeah, if he makes 5 more shots, we're talking about a Timberwolves win here.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that he didn't. It's literally, there's 2 sides of the coin here, and you look at one side and you're like, okay, Anthony Edwards needs to be more of a playmaker. He needs to be opening things up for his teammates more, because you're not offering anything for the defense to like pay more attention to you if you're not making the shots.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to open the floor up for your teammates more, it's simple from there on out.
Yeah.
We're just going to guard you one-on-one. We're going to play man defense.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to spread the ball out, then we're going to make you beat us.
Yeah. And I mean, Julius Randle looked okay
He
last
did.
night. And I think there's got to be some sort of like role definition between the two of them for this team to be successful. Dante DiVincenzo did not look great last night. I think he's still having some, like, I don't know, some gripe with his time with the Knicks and what's going on with him psychologically.
He needs to play better.
He tried to do a little bit too much last night.
He needs to play better for the Timberwolves to be.
Yeah,
on
because
par.
outside of like you said, like a 37-year-old Mike Conley and a rookie Rob Dillingham, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, those three. Rob Dillingham definitely has the potential to be a great offensive player, for sure. Not right now. Mike Conley, his 6 years removed from his prime, right? Even though he was like an all-star like 2-3 years ago, which is insane. Even with a Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who you don't want him playing close to 30 minutes in a game, I think for this team to get to that next level, need a bench option or a secondary perimeter, like playmaking scorer. I don't know who that could be that's available out there right now in the market, but you know what I mean? Like I
do.
Like I don't know. Like an Anthony Simons would be a good fit for this team, right? He's a guy who can take the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands and be a good scorer and provide some pressure. But I mean, I don't know.
I think they should have looked heavily towards Gary Trent Jr.
Or even like a Tyler Hero. I know we're not big fans of Tyler Hero on this show, but he's a guy that coming off the bench, consistent scorer. He can score in spurts. He's a decent enough playmaker.
That's what Dante he can be that.
He can be that.
DiVincenzo can be that. It's just he didn't do it efficiently enough.
No.
And we're not I know the way that we're talking about it sounds like they lost by like 20.
No.
I mean, in reality they did only lose by 7, which is a good takeaway if you're a Timberwolves fan because there are still positives to look at here. It's just turnovers were one.
Yep.
You lost the turnover battle.
You
You
did.
did rebound quite well. You tied the Lakers with rebounds. You shot better from 3 than the Lakers, which is all good stuff to hear. But it's not good to be beat 72-40 in the paint. I know it's the Lakers who identify as a paint team. But getting outscored 32 in the paint, you're going to lose 9 out of 10 of those games if that's the result. So find ways to occupy the paint more defensively because Rudy Gobert is not winning Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Nope.
So you lost Karl Anthony Towns. You either elevate Naz Reid to the starting lineup or you figure out a way for Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert to play better together.
And Rudy Gobert just got an extension.
Yeah. So what was that, like 10 minutes before the game, too?
He's like warming up and there's an extension news. I'm like, when did this happen? Yeah. I don't know. Look.
He got exposed last
night. He did. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better for him. No. Like Anthony Davis.
I know it's Anthony Davis we're talking about here, but.
I know, but at the same time, it's like, boy, did that look.
It's Rudy Gobert. Come on. It's Rudy Gobert. This is why we shit on him. This is why we shit on him every podcast we do. This is why we never, take him seriously because it's Rudy Gobert, man. There's nothing to take serious here, bro.
Like, I can't wait for him to have like a 5 or 6 block game and like a 13 rebound game and 15 points.
Against fucking Mason Plumlee probably. It's not going to come against anyone real. Let's be honest, man. It's not. That's who he is. That's
against
who he's always
Daron
been.
Sharp.
Yeah, the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets.
But okay,
to close this out, I want to do 3 takeaways with the Lakers.
Let's do it. And I'll give one for the Timberwolves. Yeah.
So the first takeaway was same thing with the Celtics. We played with an identity, our identity.
Yep.
But we did it organized. We did it detailed. That's my first takeaway. The second takeaway is Rui Hachimura.
Looks good.
Stepped up, looked great. That needs to continue.
Yep.
Because if that continues, he can be...
Sky's the limit for this team.
Sky's the limit for him. And the team, obviously. And then my third takeaway is I need more minutes from Dalton Connect.
Okay.
Because while Austin Reeves can offer a lot, almost the same as what Dalton Connect offers, it would be great to have that as more of like a 1-2 punch rather than like a 1A, 1B type of situation.
Yeah,
where
the 2 cold white boys on the court at the same time.
Whereas right now it's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
If we can make that more 1A, 1B, I think offensively, defensively, stretching the floor. With Anthony Davis playing the 5, sometimes the court can get a little bit smaller because we have LeBron playing the 4 sometimes, which I don't like when that happens. So if Dalton Connect can be on the floor more and stretch the floor more, this game was already a positive, but those are 3 takeaways of mine to continue the success of the Lakers. Start the season out great.
Yeah.
It's our first time winning our first game since
Really?
I can't even remember, bro.
That feels kind of
maybe I'm wrong, but it almost seems like we've started every season just terrible.
Terribly. 3 Timberwolves takeaways. Julius Randle looks kind of lost, but also not really. Anthony Edwards needs to chill out a little bit and kind of sit down and
I don't know about chill out, but involve your teammates a little bit more.
Yeah,
especially
figure
with
out
a new team.
Figure out another way to win games. You don't have to drag your team to wins anymore. You never really had to do it anyway, but it's not game 7 of the NBA finals. You don't have to. It's game 1 of the NBA season. You don't need to take 25 shots on 41 minutes to win a basketball game.
Yep.
And then Dante DiVincenzo. We need to see better out of you, Dante DiVincenzo. You were great last year in New York. Now there is an expectation for you to be a good 6-man or fringe starter level perimeter player in this league.
Mm-hmm.
He has been consistently throughout his career a high level bench option to a low level starting positional player.
Yep.
And the last year's later season stretch with the Knicks and even some in the playoffs, you proved that you could be even a middle to a higher tier starting level shooting guard in this league. Now you need to go out and keep doing it every night.
Yep.
Provide a punch for the Timberwolves that their bench very desperately lacks outside of Naz Reid. And
that's about it.
It's not a bad game for the Timberwolves. You did only lose by 7 while getting outscored by 30+ points in the paint. But you need to figure out, are you just going to shoot more threes and try to be an efficient 3-point shooting? They were one of the worst 3-point shooting teams last year. So do you try to go get some more shooters or expect some improvement from your shooters like Jaden McDaniels whose shot selection was very questionable, DiVincenzo's as well, Anthony Edwards as well. You guys need to find a way to, if you're gonna get outscored in the paint, figure out another way to outscore opponents, whether that's from the 3, whether that's drawing fouls and getting guys into foul trouble. Figure something out to win the nitty gritty.
That's games. The thing; they're talented enough to figure it out.
Yeah,
but they need to figure it.
They need to figure it out. You guys are more than talented, and you guys need to figure out a way to win the nitty gritty games.
Yeah,
when it gets a little bit physical. When it's a little bit when the pace slows down, you guys need to figure out a way to win some basketball games. But that's going to do it for us here on Open Court. NBA basketball is officially back, and we're so happy and excited. When do you guys play again?
Tomorrow, I think.
We do too. We play Washington on Thursday. Tomorrow.
That'll be fun.
We're gonna set the record then.
Yeah, probably.
I hope so.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys soon.
Peace out.